For more on the issue of abortion and the 2024 race, let's bring in Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina. Thanks so much for coming back to the show. You have already warned that 2024 might be a rude awakening, quote unquote, for Republicans if they don't come up with compassionate policies around abortion and gun rights. Today, we have yet another candidate for president who has called for a national ban on abortion.
Right, and this is going to be an issue that'll be defining the Republican Party in 2024. It will be at the top of the ticket. I represent a very purple swing district. It's one of the top issues, #2 issue for voters in my district. And I know that as a Republican, if you want to win the general election, we have to show that we're pro-women at the same time that we're pro-life, and show that we're going to be reasonable and sound and mindful and compassionate to all the viewpoints, because you can't win a general election by shouting down one side or the other here and saying no abortions, no exceptions for rape or incest. We don't care about women. That's not a winning message for suburban moms like myself going into the general election in 24. I would caution Republican candidates just to show you can show you're pro-life like I am, but also show how you're going to be pro-woman as well. It's really important.
Yeah, you've said that we need to be able to talk about these things. And yet last night we saw Nikki Haley, from your home state of South Carolina, in a town hall on another news network, refusing to say whether or not she would support a ban on abortion or even what her policies are on abortion.
Every candidate is going to have to define where they stand on this issue, because voters are smart. They understand what's at stake here. And women, quite frankly, they're angry. And I've seen people walk away from the Republican Party. If I had $1 for every time I heard, I didn't leave the party left me over this issue, I'd be a very wealthy woman. But you've got to show that you're going to be compassionate. You have to support exceptions for rape and incest. You have to show compassion to those victims. Where do the candidates stand on birth control? Because there are pro-life groups out there today. Even though I'm pro-life, I'm not pro-life enough because I'm talking about birth control. That is the wrong message for suburban moms and women everywhere, especially young girls. And look, next year in this election, almost half the electorate are going to be Gen Z or millennial. They care about this issue. And so we have to have our candidates go through this vigorous primary and define where they stand.
And certainly recent elections have shown this to be an important and potent issue at the ballot box. You yourself are a survivor of sexual assault. This is personal for you. What should, in your opinion, the Republican candidate for president, what should that position be on the issue of abortion?
Well, in terms of gestational limits, I think it's fine to talk about where you stand. The 15 to 20-week time frame is acceptable to 90% of Americans. You must support exceptions for rape and incest. You must support access to birth control for women everywhere. If you just take the state of South Carolina, for example, we have 14 counties in our state that don't have a single OBGYN doctor. So if you're going to see states ban abortion, what are you going to do to reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies for women who don't have access to birth control? What are we going to do about the backlog of rape kits in this country? How are we going to improve child care for moms everywhere, foster care, adoption services, letting women know that they have options and that they'll be supported no matter what they decide? That's what we've got to be talking about.
And I just have to get your reaction to a soundbite that was just played in Kelly Meyer's package. We heard Nikki Haley on stage last night very passionately say that transgender kids in girls' sports is the #1 biggest women's issue. Do you agree with that assessment?
I do believe that it is an issue. Biological men and women's sports is an issue. I was the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina. We've never had a female president. Women still have glass ceilings that have to be shattered and broken, and I don't want to see biological men taking those achievements away. In South Carolina, it took our state 100 years since women's suffrage to get a Republican woman elected to Congress in the seat where I am today. And so it's certainly a top issue for women and girls in this country.
But not the #1 most important issue.
I wouldn't say it's the #1 issue. Those were not my words. But I would definitely say when I talk to voters, when I talk to the electorate, when I talk to constituents, it's certainly top of mind. But I would say above that issue would be the issue of abortion. If you look at inflation, that's the #1 issue for people on both sides of the aisle. But the #2 issue beyond that, the #1 women's issues, is absolutely abortion in this country.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.